who you're talking with and hear what you have to say. So we are live. We're back, the Senate Government Operations Committee. We're taking a look at H794 on the Veterans Home, Vermont Veterans Home. And so I'm Senator Ruth Hardy from the Addison District.
I'm Olivia Parker. I'm the Committee Assistant. Senator Tanya Vyhovsky in Central District.
Hi, I'm Senator Rebecca White, and I'm one of the Windsor County District members.
This would be Senator Bob Norris from Franklin, but he is not here, and I'm Senator Ann Watson from the Washington District.
Allison Clarkson, Windsor County District.
Great. Well, thank you both for being here. I have Melissa listed first on our agenda. Does that work for you, Melissa? Do you want to lead off?
Sure. So for the record, I'm Melissa Jackson. I am the CEO of the Vermont Veterans Home in Bennington. The purpose behind the bill that we're speaking about today is working with the Board of Trustees for the Vermont Veterans Home. We are beginning to investigate how we can care for more of Vermont's veterans outside of the numerous walls of our nursing facility here in Bennington. We recently redid our strategic plan. We recently had a market study completed. And as we were looking at the various steps we would have to take as we embark on this journey, we realized that the current statute seems to limit our ability to provide care for veterans right here in Bennington on our grounds. So this bill would allow us to do things if deemed appropriate through a feasibility study, such as home health care, adult day health, the potential of another long-term care facility in the other parts of the state, none of which have any firm plans other than just some general talking. But we felt first and foremost, before we spent our time and effort looking at other options, we needed to get our current ability to provide other services addressed. So that's why we requested that Mary Morrissey draft this bill on our behalf.
Yeah, she did that.
Melissa, thank you. You did mention opening another facility. One of the things this bill doesn't do is allow you to open another veterans home that's like the veterans home you have now. Is that an authority you would like us to provide in the bill, or?
We were hoping that the way the bill was written is after we've done all of our due diligence for whatever healthcare service we felt would be appropriate, feasibility studies, revenue studies, we would come to you and say, here is a solid plan to allow us to do X. We felt that, I believe it's the words that we could provide healthcare services or services. I'm looking at the exact wordage. We thought that the term there was broad enough to allow us to do other services. Yes, it says providing services to veterans living in Vermont who do not reside at the home. So.
Yeah, I mean, it would allow you to provide services or coordinate and partner or contract for things. Mm-hmm. But we did ask our legislative counsel attorney explicitly, would it allow you to open another veterans home like the one that you have now, or we have now? Mm-hmm. And the answer was no, that you wouldn't be able to open a second site unless it was through a contract, but it couldn't be another nursing home type facility.
I think having that flexibility would be important because under the federal regulations for state veterans homes, contracting is very difficult. It's not an impossibility, but respecting where healthcare is going in general, focusing more on home and community-based care, that's, Gary can correct me if I'm wrong, that's kind of where we're leaning to. So.
Yes, absolutely. That is the trend, and I think the desire for most people, but also for the state as a whole, is that people are able to age in place and get their services in their home. But I just wonder, since we're doing the bill, if having the flexibility of potentially, obviously you would have to come back and get funding and get approval through the certification process and all the things that nursing homes have to do. It's not like if we put it in the bill, it's gonna happen, but
Right.
having, what I'm hearing, I think, is that you would like the flexibility if that becomes an option in the future. Is that correct?
I would like that flexibility, yes.
I
Okay.
hope I'm not out of line. If you can hear me, this is Gary DeGasler. I certainly would endorse that as well, and I'm sure the Board of Trustees would feel much the same way. Whatever flexibility can be provided would be extremely helpful.
Okay, thank you, Gary. And just for the record, what is your position? So we know.
Well, yes, you'll hear me momentarily, but I am president of the Board of Trustees from the home, but I also chair the Governor's Veterans Advisory Council.
Perfect, you're a twofer. Great, okay, I think Senator Clarkson has a question.
Yeah, I mean, for Senator White and myself, we are very keen on the future possibility of there being a veterans home actually near the Veterans Hospital, which we represent. So White, we're very keen on more community based services for our veterans in White River Junction and the possibility of a second nursing home because sadly, staying at home isn't possible for everybody. So I have had so many constituents who have had to move to the veterans home and it is way too far away.
Exactly.
And so we would love to make it on the East Coast. Well, we are on the East Coast. There's a big river there. So I'm very keen on this flexibility because we really would someday love to have that by the hospital.
Okay,
That'd be great.
all right, well, thank you, Melissa, that's very helpful. And Gary, we'll move on to you officially.
Well, good afternoon. For the record, my name is Gary DeGasler. I'm a retired U.S. Army Medical Department Colonel. I'm also a retired U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs Senior Healthcare Executive, and for 2 decades, I served as the director of the White River Junction VA Medical Center.
Aha.
There's a connection there, isn't there? Okay. Well, I've been invited to speak today in my role as chairperson of the Governor's Veterans Advisory Council. Full disclosure, as I said earlier, I am also president of the Vermont Veterans Home Board of Trustees. I believe these 2 leadership positions, combined with 4 decades of civilian and military healthcare experience, uniquely position me to understand and appreciate the needs and concerns of Vermont veterans and their families and the healthcare organizations which support them. As I will state later in my testimony, the GVAC, as well as the VVH and its Board of Trustees, wholeheartedly endorse and encourage the passage of H794. The VVH is a state veterans home licensed to meet all levels of resident care needs in its Bennington facility. And I say, underscore, in its Bennington facility. Vermont statute does not currently permit the VVA to deliver healthcare services anywhere other than on its Bennington campus. To thrive and survive in today's competitive healthcare environment, the VVH must be enabled to offer more than just 24/7 skilled nursing home care in southwestern Vermont. The home must be permitted to deliver essential home-based programs such as adult day healthcare and home healthcare, as Melissa had mentioned a bit earlier, services which enable veterans to remain in their homes and to facilitate an earlier discharge from the Vermont Veterans Home, the VA Medical Center, and/or community hospitals, and to return to their homes more quickly, significantly reducing healthcare costs and providing better clinical outcomes. Vermont is fortunate to have 2 outstanding organizations serving the healthcare needs of its veterans. One state, the Vermont Veterans Home, and the other federal, the White River Junction VA Medical Center. VVH's CEO, Melissa Jackson, and the VAMC Executive Director, Dr. Brett Rush, are consummate healthcare professionals who collaboratively work on behalf of Vermont veterans. Both also serve on the GVAC as ex officio members, and both keep the GVAC informed about their organizational accomplishments, challenges, and needs. The VVH's strategic plan, approved by its board in February 2021 and updated annually, and its recently concluded market study evidenced that In order to better serve Vermont veterans into the future, the home must consider diversifying and expanding its programs and services beyond the confines of its Bennington campus. Not unexpectedly, the VVH is currently experiencing the same critical nursing and other employee shortages which plague our nation's healthcare industry. The VVH2 has had to contract for staff at exorbitant costs just to deliver its core services. For some time to come, the home's primary focus will be on employee stabilization and reduction of its contracted personnel costs, and not adding or expanding services to a new location. While the VVH's leadership diligently works to address the home's personnel and budget challenges, it must also continue to think and plan strategically to include evaluating the need for and the feasibility of implementing new programs and services, potential geographical expansion, as you all have already talked about a moment ago, and exploring opportunities for partnering with organizations such as the VA to help implement and fund future activities. In closing, the statutory changes spelled out in H 794 will not require the state to spend a single penny. What H 794 will provide is the governance authority necessary for the Vermont Veterans Home to plan for and to deliver 21st century healthcare to Vermont's deserving veterans and their families. And those are the reasons why the Governor's Veterans Advisory Council supports and endorses the passage of 794. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today, and I welcome your comments or concerns.
Gary, thank you so much. And I see you've submitted your testimony in writing.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm looking through it because I do want to just clarify, because I may have heard you incorrectly.
Exactly.
I
heard this in.
And Senator Clarkson looked at me as well. Did you say that you did not want to open a second site?
No. The implication was at this particular point in time, in view of the financial concerns dealing with staffing costs, et cetera, that the focus is going to be on Melissa and her staff trying to stabilize the staff and also to reduce its costs. Certainly, when the timing is right, and that's why strategic plan is absolutely critical. We want to have a plan in place that when it's time to pull the trigger, we are ready to go with whatever happens, whether that's, as Melissa alluded to earlier, well, that may be another request for another nursing home, or to just expand to outpatient services. The key point at this point, as we understand the statute, it does not permit the home to do anything other than on the Bennington's campus, and that needs to be changed.
Okay, great. Just, I wanted to clarify, because I didn't want to make the change in the bill if you were gonna be saying, wait, no, that's not what we meant. Okay, that was your question, right, Senator Clarkson? Okay.
It was, we were like, right
Yeah,
away.
thank you for the clarification.
Like on the floor today.
Exactly. All right, are there any other questions for Gary or Melissa at this point?
No, thank you. Thank you for your service. Because
Yeah.
you know, we're all so proud of the Veterans Home, and it's not, I know Mary Morrissey is the chief cheerleader, but the rest of us are right there. And so many of our constituents, every one of us has constituents who has come through your doors and been helped. And so thank you. And for you to be able to do more is great.
Yeah.
We do not want to clip your wings. We want you to do more.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all feel that way. Are there other witnesses you think we should hear from?
The head of the VA.
Uh,
The head of the VA be an interesting person for us?
Let me, Madam Chair, let me tell you that I actually have had conversation with Dr. Rush fairly recently, and he suggested to me that if you wish him to testify on behalf of this piece of legislation, he would be more than pleased to do so.
Oh, wonderful. Often federal employees won't testify in state committees. So I'm assuming he's a federal employee if he's the head of the VA hospital.
Yes.
He better be, or he's in big trouble.
Yeah. So, well, if you would be willing to send Olivia his contact information, that would be helpful, and we can certainly have him in to talk about the bill.
I would be more than pleased to do so. As I said, the VA Medical Center, which formerly I was a part of, and the Vermont Veterans Home are currently doing some activities and sharing and so on. So they're much in contact with one another. So Brett, I'm sure Dr. Rush will be more than pleased to offer his comments.
Great,
Right.
well, we will have him in and, but we do plan, I think, the next time we take up the bill, hopefully to make this change that we discussed, and assuming there are no other changes, we would vote the bill out probably early to mid next week.
Okay.
So if anything else comes up, let us know, knowing that that's our intention.
And please, if you require anything further from either of us, please let us know.
Yes,
We will do that. Thanks again for your patience today and for all of your work with the Veterans Home.
Yeah, here.
All right,
thank you.
you're welcome. Take care.